Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good night. It is so nice to have you here. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative Part 2. Every Monday, we have 2 episodes because we have people from all over the world and we have different time zones, and it made sense to have 2 shows instead of people getting up in the middle of the night to do a TV show. So our topic today is discipline and structure, or take it as it comes. Joining me from the other side of the world, which I always find so fascinating, because here we're summer and there she's winter. Here it's evening and there it's morning. Let's welcome Mariska DePrea. Hello.
Hello. And as always, a pleasure to be here and having so much fun. Before this show started, I was actually looking at all the radiant faces of all the ladies that is on A Woman's Prerogative and part of the panel, and I'm missing them.
Well, they miss you too. I mean, I'm lucky because I get to see them all. We have so much fun. I mean, we really have a lot of laughs, but you and I have fun too. So I think it's a nice combination. So we are here talking about subjects that are impacting women around the world. And of course, this is a good topic as well. But before we get into that, I want to have you give an update on any of the fabulous things that you're doing as a transformation and leadership coach, as a podcast host, and also as one of our expert presenters on Talking Heads, as an Amazon #1 best-selling author. What's new with Mariska?
Oh, man. That sounds like such a huge list. Dr. JACALYN, you have the ability to make me feel very, very humbled by listing that big title. It feels heavy. Thank you, nonetheless, of reminding me of all the things that I have been doing in the past year plus. So what's new with me? I also volunteer at the ICF, which is a coaching organization. And one of the things that's new for us within our space is we have recently merged 2 of our branches here in New Zealand to be one big branch. Being a narrow, skinny little island, or islands really, we needed to look at a different way to serve our community and the people that is part of our membership team. So that's what we're doing at the moment, and finding ways that helps us to really create that belonging within the space that I serve there. And it also made me more aware of how we create belonging and psychological safety for everybody that we interact with and that we work with, and having those conversations that invite psychological safety into the spaces where we are and where we interact, and how that works. So that has, well, literally gotten me into researching new things and experimenting and working with new areas and looking at systems thinking. So Yes, at the moment, my brain is full of new research and all sorts of interesting things that's happening in my world. And I thought I would share that because I do think that a piece of that might be around the discipline structure or just going with the flow topic that we are handling today. And it is also something that is very front of mind for me at the moment. Not something that necessarily I have put into a product form, so a course or some other material to consume. I am still learning some of these things myself and really enjoying that experience. So that would be something that is new in my world, new and exciting. And Dr. JACALYN, I know for USA Global TV and you yourself, there's been quite a few things happening for you as well. So what's new in your world?
Well, thanks so much for asking. I appreciate it. We have had a few things going on for sure. And I will mention that I woke up yesterday to an email from YouTube that they were taking one of my Talking Heads episodes down because they felt that it provided medical misinformation. And lo and behold, it was just a role play. As you know, I'm the listening mentor, and we use role plays to help demonstrate to people behaviors. When you watch something, you can actually glean something from it that you might not be able to otherwise. And this role play was about judgment and how we judge other people. As soon as someone says, I'm pro this, I'm con that, people just close off. So I felt like they, whoever they are, artificial intelligence or actual humans, that they did not actually watch the program to understand what the concept was and why we had the role play in there. So I appealed it, and they came back and apologized and said they made a mistake. So that was an interesting experience, because what it taught me when it first happened, I'm already under a lot of stress, and to get something like that when I pay so much money for the YouTube channel to be monetized and search engine optimization and thumbnails, I took a step back, I took some deep breaths, and I said, what is the meaning here? And I said to myself, the meaning is we need to diversify so we're on as many platforms as possible. And, in business, as an entrepreneur, it's also good to diversify. And as an investor, it's good to diversify. So I learned a lot from it. Of course, we were back up and running. I think it was just 24 hours. So that was something of interest. So that's the first thing. The second thing, as you know, our 5th book for the Lady Ella series is just about finished. We got some more illustrations, and that's exciting. I don't know if I have a graphic, because StreamYard limits the number of graphics, and I constantly have to delete and add. So we don't, unfortunately. But we can go over to Amazon and take a look. And also, the coloring book is almost finished as well. Each book will have its own coloring book, and this coloring book goes with the first Lady Ella book. And the exciting thing is, as you know, Mariska, that we have the real Lady Ella, and I think I have one of the books here. We have the real Lady Ella here visiting, and you got to meet her. The little angel.
I did.
To meet her. She's grown up so much since this picture. She's not even 2 yet. Yeah. So that was exciting. And then I would say the last thing that's particularly exciting is I had shared before about another new book that's in conjunction with me doing some public speaking. And one of the people who had asked if I have a book, I said, yes, I have 6 books. And she said, do you have one on this specific topic, the power of elevated listening? And I said, I don't, but I will. So I've been working with Red O'Loughlin, my book coach and editor and friend, and the book is nearly finished. And so that's very exciting. We met last night to review some other things. So that's what's going on with me. And I have some other books coming out as well. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go over to Amazon and show the book number 5. And then we can take a look at it from there. It's funny not having written anything anymore. Now it's kind of like I can't stop writing. So
I wanted to say it sounds like there's been a book writing or author bug that has been taking some space in your life.
Absolutely. And so we're over here on Amazon. Can you see the page?
Yes, I can.
And you'll see, Mariska, and you know this for a fact because you personally have left reviews that don't show up, but there's so many other people have too. It's not just you. It's so hard to get reviews. But anyway, this is the first book, and this is the one that there's a coloring book that's coming out. This is the second book, and this one's unique because it actually has a sheet music and a song that corresponds with it, Listening Lazies. And let me go down to the third book. The third book here is Lady Ella Has Afternoon Tea in London. And then the fourth book is here. Why don't they have them in order? I don't know. This is The Ocean Calls and Lady Ella Listens. And then, of course, the fifth book is here. Lady Ella Listens. And oh my gosh, look at this. It's #1 new release again. Do you see that?
Yes!
This is like the 6th time. All right, I have to take a picture. If you have your phone, take a picture of it.
Yes, taking a picture.
Wow, how cool is that? Live on air.
That is so cool. Yes, and very unexpected. We did not look for this before we shared it.
No, we did not. That's amazing. So whoever is out there watching or listening, these books are all Amazon #1 new releases. You see it, it's right here. And this is the, I don't know, the 4th, 5th, 6th time this has been a #1 new release. So please go over to Amazon. You can put in my name, you can put in Mariska's name, and you can find the books. So that's that. And then I wanted to share, the new one I don't have a cover for yet. So that's what I'm waiting for, the cover. And what else? Oh, this is another one that's coming out. Blonde, Sexy, and Hot as You Know What, Beauty Brains and Ulcerative Colitis. This is coming out in September, and I'm waiting for the illustrations for this one. So the listening book doesn't have any cover yet, so that's why it's not there. So thank you for watching and engaging. Let's go into our topic, which is really interesting. It's whatever comes to mind for you, Mariska, when you hear discipline and structure, or take it as it comes. What comes up for you?
Intention. For me, whether I utilize discipline and structure or taking it as it comes, it is all about the intentionality of what it is that I want to be doing. So I think maybe a piece of my discipline and structure is setting intention, first of all, making sure that I know what it is that I'm working towards, not necessarily a structured goal. So sometimes it is structured goals that actually goes into the whole SMART goal system, and other times it's not. It's really having an intention, a clear vision of what it is that I'm working towards, and then holding that. And then, if I need to have it within a structured and disciplined space in order for me to get there, because there's certain steps that I need to do, then that's what I do. And if it's more of a go with the flow and sort of see what happens, because I'm not too sure what all the steps might be, and can't plan it out step for step, and I want to have more of an experience of it, then that's what I do. So to me, it's a little bit dependent on what it is that I want to create within that space as to what type of tool it is that I would be using for it. Dr. JACALYN, how do you normally approach this?
Yes, thanks for sharing that. That's a great question. So what I've realized about myself is I used to be extremely structured in everything that I did. And then there was a side of me that was kind of really cavalier, and I would do things without even thinking about it. Now I really think about almost everything that I'm doing, but that doesn't mean that I have to have the structure and discipline. So while I'm very structured and I have discipline, I have pads. I have more. I must have 10 pads over there, 2 over here. I write everything down. So that part of me is very structured, but yet I'm much more willing to take risks. I'm much more willing to try new things than I was in the past. Everything I'd have to think about it and overanalyze it. Now I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot, because if I don't, I'm never going to know. And if sometimes when we overthink things, we literally talk ourselves out of it because we just start coming from a position of weakness and fear.
Yeah. I have to absolutely agree with you on the overthinking thing. I think structure is really good to help us move forward. And also, one of the things that I've recently observed, and this may or may not be true for other people, I don't know. When we have a frame on which to hang ideas, so say for instance, we have made sense of it a certain way, that's a frame for us to hang things onto. Now, sometimes that frame may or may not serve us over time, and we need to change it. So that's sort of the way that I look at structure these days. It's becoming a lot more fluid. It's becoming a lot more of a, well, is this thing working for me the way that I have set it up or not? And realizing that that's part of what I do is I'm actually, and that's for most people because we are sense-making beings. We make sense of things a certain way, and then figuring out whether that sense-making process is helping us in what we want to achieve or not. And realizing that we have the power to actually remake sense. So take the previous sense-making model away and make new sense of it for ourselves. Change the way we think about it. And when we're overthinking it, sometimes we have a tendency to go back into our previous thinking loops. I think that's what I have observed is overthinking doesn't really give me new thinking. So there's a difference between overthinking something and new thinking about something, and realizing when I'm in which lane. If I'm overthinking it and it's really just putting me into loops and I'm problem solving or just going into why territory, or whether I am creating and finding new thinking within the space that I am creating. So yes, that's another way of thinking about structure, mind you. And absolutely, Dr. JACALYN, as entrepreneurs, structure may or may not serve us as we go. And it's always good to test things out. So, Dr. JACALYN, thinking about things that you have tested out recently, seeing as you just mentioned the whole YouTube interesting scenario that took place not too long ago, how has that changed your way of thinking or structures that you use?
Great question. Thank you. So I think what came about as a result of this YouTube scenario is that someone else has power over me, right? Someone has power over the channel. And I realized I don't like that feeling. And as much as I appreciate being able to, I thought to myself, it's so interesting because the thing that they were flagging about was exactly what they were doing. They were basically judging something without understanding it and without listening. So I applaud the fact that I had a very specific comments in my appeal to YouTube. And I basically said, this is part of the problem, that we are so set in our ways that you can't discuss this, you can't discuss that. And no one was discussing it. It was a role play to point out how we don't listen to each other. So that was the first thing that I realized, that you can't be beholden to any one person. So if you are an entrepreneur, for example, and you have one big client, guess what? That one big client can go south. And then you've got a real problem. And then something else that I've learned is you can't just have the same clients. You want to keep the same clients. Obviously, you're a client, you're a friend, so I want to keep you. But I can only go to you so many times and say, hey, we've got this project, that project, this project, that project. At some point, you're going to go, hey, I love doing the projects, but I can't do all the projects, right? So you have to have more new clients coming in and keep the existing clients. So keep them happy. So they're referring people in as well. So I feel it's about diversifying and bringing value wherever it is that you go.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I think when we in that entrepreneur space, that's something that is quite something to keep in mind constantly, because it's almost like our own personal development. It's developing our business, it's developing the offers, it's developing what it is that we create in the world. And like with our own personal development, if we stop developing and learning, we stop growing. And typically, I don't know if you guys have ever watched a plant, but if it stops growing, it literally dies. And that's what happens with us too. And of course, that is definitely what would happen with any business. If we stop tweaking it and growing it and finding other ways of doing things, then it will definitely not make it for a long time. So very true, Dr. JACALYN, very true. And I love how you diversifying.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm diversifying. And again, as I say this, I am running 2 businesses, but my businesses would be non-existent if I didn't have clients. And so I'm constantly thinking, how can I benefit the client next year, the year after that? So if it's always doing the same thing, and if it's being sort of unwilling to learn new things, then it's not going to be beneficial. So for example, I have people reaching out to me all the time, trying to sell me something. And I have people sending me newsletters that I don't remember signing up for. But guess what? I always read them because I want to find out what are other people doing. I also want to, when someone's reaching out to me, hey, would you like to have a mobile app? Hey, would you like to have a recruiting department? And some of these things I'm interested in, some of them are down the road. But no, I'm paying attention. I'm getting ideas, because to grow the business, you have to be open. So I feel like with this topic, discipline and structure, or take it as it comes, there's actually a nice intersection somewhere. And what I mean by that is you have to have structure. You have to have discipline. So you have to work so many hours. They have to be productive hours. You're not just going to be standing around going, yeah, I'm real busy now, I'm juggling. No, that's a waste of time. But at the same time, you can't be so rigid that you're not open to hearing ideas. You're not open to seeing concepts. So I'm always researching, what are other people doing out there? What are other television networks doing? And if you think about the long-standing network channels that have been around, obviously they were not giving the people what they wanted, because we have all these streaming platforms and streaming platforms, watching, listening at your leisure when it's convenient for you. What's the next version that's going to be coming out? Fast channels. So we're looking into that. We are partnered with E360 TV for getting onto Amazon and Apple and Roku. So it's about continuously growing, testing the waters, and also being open. And I'm very, very interested when people approach me to hear what it is they're doing. Unlike other people in this industry who would say, that's your competitor, stay away from them. It could be a competitor now. It could be a collaborator tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We don't know. I can't remember which philosophy it is in, but it's really about burning bridges. If we are going in one direction and we burn all the bridges that's behind us, it literally means we are taking away a road next time we want to maybe go over that bridge. And now we need to build it. So for me, collaborations makes a lot more sense. And Dr. JACALYN, I love how you are tapping into that global knowledge by using all the different elements that people already have out there. I mean, how many newsletters do we get in our inboxes on a daily basis, right? It's a great source of information. The only thing is, we need to decide to use that information. And as you also mentioned around the structure, having a structure, but not having it so rigid that we can't move beyond it. It reminds me a little bit around, if you look at big oil liners, so big oil tankers on sea, or you look at a little speedboat. Now, the oil tanker can go a lot further. Storms doesn't bother it as much. It also takes a while to actually turn. Versus the little speedboat, it might not necessarily enjoy as much of the bigger storms. It might struggle a little with those ones. It might even capsize in some of those ones. So it's not ideal for big storms. It might not be able to travel as far, but it's a lot more nimble. So finding that sort of way in between the two, we have a structure, we can go the distance, and we know what exactly it is that we want. So going back to my very first thing that I said, intention, understanding what the intention is of what we're building or creating, in order for us then to put a structure together that works for it and not have it too rigid, as per Dr. JACALYN's comment, to still be able to adapt and change what it is that we need to adapt and change, and see how it is that we do that. Because, well, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't exactly plan for COVID. So we never know when something like that happens. And then we definitely need to be able to change. And it might not be a international pandemic next time. It might be something else. So we might be prepared for the health piece of it, but not for another piece of it. Hey, AI is doing interesting things these days, so you never know.
Very true. And by the way, have you embraced artificial intelligence in any way?
Ooh, I have utilized AI a little bit in helping me write some blog posts. So what I did with it is not necessarily to write the whole thing, because I still want to sound like me. And, well, the only person on the planet that sounds like me is me. So yes, I still need to do most of the writing for it myself. I tried. I said, write in the voice of Mariska. It didn't get it. So I'm still doing that piece myself. But it did give me a whole bunch of ideas of topics that I can utilize and commonly discussed things within each topic, and that sort of thing. So, yep, definitely utilizing it and understanding what the intention is for why I'm using it. So it gives me a bit of structure and a bit of, well, see what comes out of it and take it as it comes.
That is a great way to sum it up, for sure, because there's some things, some commands it still doesn't get. Write a 250 word XYZ or 1,000 character whatever for YouTube, and it doesn't get it. So, and then I've used it a lot as a virtual assistant, so it's really helped me in a number of ways. For example, on LinkedIn, on social media platforms, I'll say, write a YouTube playlist for the show with the name of XYZ. These are the people on the show. This is what they do. This is when the show airs. And then it comes back and I'll say, rewrite and eliminate this, that, or the other, and include this. So it's like a partnership, because it can't do it, obviously, everything itself. And I don't want it to do everything by itself. And you really have to check what the information that it gives you, because it could be inaccurate, which has happened several times.
Yes, it's literally, it reminds me of something that one of my university professors said while I was still studying engineering. If we have anything at all that we're using, we need to make sure that we don't put garbage in, because what we will end up doing is having garbage out. So we need to understand the intention and the what exactly it is that we want to happen, and then see whether the thing can actually do that and give us appropriate output. And then, of course, look at the output, because it may or may not be what you expected, and it may or may not be correct. As Dr. JACALYN mentioned, AI is still a operating system built by humans, so not perfect.
Absolutely. I wanted to add something to our earlier discussion, which is if you're in a leadership role, and you know this because you're a leadership coach, a transformation coach, and if you are in a leadership position and you don't let your team know where you're going or what you have in mind, you can lose team members. And so that's why here I'm really passionate about setting up one-on-one meetings with team members to let them know what it is we're doing. And it takes a lot of time. As you know, I met with you. It could take an hour. It could take an hour and a half to go through all the opportunities that we have here. But that's, to me, is the least of what I can do so that people know, okay, if I'm the captain of this ship, that's what Dr. Chan always says. If I'm the captain of this ship, I want you to know where the ship's headed. So you can say to yourself, you know what, I want to stay on the ship, or maybe I want to jump ship. Maybe it's not for me, because not everybody is going to take the journey the whole time. And people come on and off the ship. And I don't take it personally. I think there's a reason and a season, just like friendships and relationships.
That is very true. And I think especially when it comes to anything where we changing things, it's within any relationship, it doesn't really matter which one it is, communication. Because literally the other person has no idea of what happens in our heads. There's not a little door that we can open up and they can just read it and be done with it. So we actually need to have discussions with them and share ideas with them. And Dr. JACALYN, I am sure as you were going through your individual meetings, some new ideas came up from different people and they saw some new opportunities for them. Or as you mentioned, well, maybe they didn't. It's really around having those discussions and seeing how we can collaborate, what it is that we can do, that we can work together, and understanding the direction in which we are moving as a group, as an individual, and whether we want to continue moving with the group or not. It's always a choice, and we need to realize that is a choice that we are making. And Dr. JACALYN, to your earlier point around YouTube, well, if you have me at ransom because this is the only platform that I am on, literally, it's not their fault. It's mine, because I can choose that this is the only platform that I am on. So realizing that it's our own responsibility as to what we do and don't do and how that looks like for us, and being able to do that with great leaders such as yourself, Dr. JACALYN, is always so much easier because, well, it gives us clarity. And clarity makes it easier to do a whole bunch of stuff.
It sure does. It sure does. It's funny, Mariska, because when I worked in corporate, I was always in a sales role, and I never, ever felt like I was a leader in anything. And in fact, I never felt like I had any creative skills whatsoever. And a lot of times at team meetings, I would just sit there and be really embarrassed because I felt like I had nothing to offer. You and I worked together to come up with a plan for me to leave, and then started out in coaching. And of course, coaching is very structured in a lot of ways in terms of following formats, because you want to make sure that you give the client every opportunity to express themselves instead of us ramming something down their throat. That's a different kind of, I don't know what that is, but anyway,
neither do I.
Yeah, it's nothing good. But so my point is that now I'm creating all the time, and we have people from all over the world. And to your point, after I introduced you, I feel so humbled that I've been able to have any inspiration or hope that I've given people so that their lives have taken a new direction, or their lives are richer as a result of what it is we do here. So I thank you and all of our team members. We just added 2 more team members, which is amazing. And here's something about that: discipline and structure. So if I was so rigid and so structured, I don't know that we would have the number of people that we have here. And the reason being is because I listen to people's ideas. If I said, Mariska, you have to do 4 shows a week, they have to be this amount of time, and they have to be on this day. You know, we like a woman's prerogative, for example. We have you in New Zealand, and we had Jenetta in Kenya. See, they come together. And so she was staying up quite late, and then you were going to have to get up quite early when the time changes. So what did? We came up with 2 shows. And we talked about it. Should we make this show a different name? And you're like, no, I like a woman's prerogative. And then hopefully we'll all come back together when the time changes. But if I was so rigid and said, no, that's it, I don't care, you're getting up at the crack of dawn, you're staying up in the middle of the night, you'd be like, oh, who wants to work with her? That is not nice. Your husband would be like, you're doing what at 3 a.m.?
Every week, really?
Right. It wouldn't work out.
Yeah. And I think that is one of the things that I really appreciate about you and this platform, is the fact that not only do you get to meet great people within the team, have a great platform with loads and loads and loads and loads of viewers and listeners. Thank you, everybody listening and viewing. We really appreciate all of you, because without you, literally, well, what's the point of us being here? So you haven't only created that, you also have a continuous collaborative spirit in what it is that you do, listening to what it is that your team members need, looking at what it is that the viewers and listeners need within that space. And one of the reasons why you are now also collaborating with E63, 360, there you go, E360, so that we can do other things within the space that, well, maybe USA Global would have gotten to in 5 years from now, or maybe not, because, well, we never know where the direction would have got to. And that's always exciting, seeing how this platform grows and how the people grow that is on it. Yes, I enjoy it so much. Dr. JACALYN, I am so honored to be part of your team.
Oh, thank you. I'm so honored to have you on the team and have you as my friends. It's been a wonderful journey that is just beginning. And when I think back, I went over to LinkedIn, and because I always like to see who's checking out my profile, and then I check them out. But I saw my profile that I've been in this role at USA Global TV and Radio for 18 months. So 18 months is a very short time. So think about where we'll be 18 months from now. It's amazing. And by the way, I wanted to share this. I had a show, 2 shows with Roland today, and I was just sharing a couple things. We're talking about planet Earth. And when I think about the things that I've learned from you and from the team members, it's incredible. It's so much more than I've ever learned from network television. But planet Earth, for example, coexistence, sustainability, other countries in the world, things that they're going through, using spray cans, using one-time makeup remover. I mean, all these things that I never even gave a thought to, or about the wind turbines and the impact that they are having. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I think it's all here. It's all here. You guys are bringing all of this incredible content and education to people across the world. And all they have to do is go on their device, and anytime they want, they can watch or listen.
And that's the thing. It reminds me of one of our previous shows. Was it last week or the week before? Around learning, right? We have it all. We only need to tap into it. It's there. It's at our fingertips. There's no excuse for us not to know something, because it is all there. And I know there's some people that go, yeah, but misinformation this and misinformation that. I get it. There's people that would like to lead us astray, and, well, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. That's true too. Part of that is also testing it out for ourselves, seeing what is true for us and not just going and grabbing something and running with it. So having that balance again between the structure and taking it as it comes. So understanding for us what works, what doesn't work, how it works, how it all fits together and makes sense. That's what life is about. And that is what we give on this platform in spades. You can literally learn anything and everything under the sun if you look for it, or, well, sometimes even if you're not looking for it, it might just come up in one of the shows. Because I do know, Dr. Jacalyn, that from time to time, Roland has a tendency to bring in very interesting topics.
He does. And, he's living in a motorhome in Europe, traveling around, meeting people and having new encounters. So I was just thinking that today I started out at 9 a.m. and it's it's going on 8 p.m. here. So that's almost 11 hours of broadcasting today. When I think of all the things that I've learned, and as you know, I stand for all the shows, which is not an easy thing. Part of what I think enables me to do it is because I'm so curious and I'm so interested in all the discussions that we have here. It's just fascinating to me.
It is the best job ever. Hey, just look at that. I can promise you that if you were to do this sales job that you used to do and you had to stand for almost 12 hours nonstop for it, you would most probably not be able to do that. Other than the shoes being uncomfortable. I think just the interest might not have been there. It might not have been sparked as much as it is being sparked with what this is. And that is part of the great thing about creating this. It is uniquely Dr. Jacalyn, as well as, well, everybody else that contributes to it. We all have a little piece of ourselves woven into this grand thing called USA Global TV and Radio.
Woo, I love it. What a beautiful way to close out this show. Thank you. That was excellent. Mariska, you'll be coming back for Talking Heads on your Friday, our Thursday. Any idea what you're going to be speaking on?
Ooh, Talking Heads. So for this week, I am speaking on boundaries, and it's really focusing on that area of transition. So when we're in a transition space, looking at boundaries within that space and, well, how it might be that we need to move ours in order for the space to make more sense. As I mentioned a little bit earlier on, we are sense-making beings, and sometimes the structures that we have in place for the mental models that we operate under and the belief systems that works for us in one specific area might not do the same thing in another one. So we will be looking at our boundaries and how that looks like when we are transitioning in life. So it may apply to you if you are a specialist moving into leadership. It may apply to you when you are moving up in the leadership chain, or it might even apply to you when you are moving through life, because yes, we continuously transition. So that's my plan for this week's Talking Heads.
And people can find all of your Talking Heads. I renamed the playlist 2 nights ago. It's Talking Heads 2023 with expert presenter Mariska Dupria. So there you go. Mariska, how can people reach out to you, and who do you want to contact you?
Well, you can reach me via my email, which is mariska@journey2discover.com. Or alternatively, you can also reach me via LinkedIn. And there you can literally reach out, drop me a direct message, and we can start the conversation. As I mentioned, for the show and also for the people that I normally work with, I love working with people that is either in a specialization or has recently moved from their specialization into a leadership role, as well as people moving up within their leadership roles. And at the moment, I even have a client that's doing it the other way around. So they were in a leadership role, and now they are going into a little bit more of a specialization to broaden the way that they think about things. So if you have any of those sort of variances happening for you, coaching is a great way of helping us make sense of what it is that's happening, restructuring our structures in order for us to then make the new structures serve us better and be a little bit more pliable within the way that we think. So that is people that can reach out to me. And as I mentioned, contact details, Mariska at journeytodiscover.com, or alternatively via LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Mariska. I appreciate you and appreciate you being here. And as we get ready to close out, what I'd like to just ask people, if you are someone, and maybe you've heard this expression, everything's black and white or everything's gray, maybe instead of being black or white or gray, you can just be all together. I don't know, what color would that be, Mariska, if you're black, white, and gray all together?
I have no idea. A rainbow?
Could be. But instead of being so structured or instead of being so laissez-faire, maybe put the two together and sometimes be open and sometimes be closed and structured. Because if we're all one way or all another way, it might not benefit us as much as if we embrace both ways of being. So they're my words of wisdom for the day. We, as I mentioned, had, I don't know how many shows it was today, but we were live streaming almost all day. Go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio. We also have a second YouTube channel, always for backup, which is Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. And of course, we have all of the videos, pretty much all the actual video files that are little files safe. So we can put them up on other platforms too. So that's all for now. Please go and book your session at usaglobaltv.com. Book your session, and we'll be back tomorrow with more excitement. So as we close out, we're going to watch a sponsorship from our dear friend Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. And if I could find it, that would be great. Here it is. Let's take a look, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, Mariska. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes. Building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you. Thank you, BSc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.